Hello, my name is Steven Springhorn, Acting Deputy Director of Statewide Groundwater Management at the California Department of Water Resources. I'm here today along with my colleague, Craig Altair, and we would like to provide information on 3 new developments. First, DWR's release of the first Groundwater Sustainability Plan assessments under the state's Sustainable Groundwater Management Act, or SGMA. Second, the current landscape of groundwater and our current drought conditions. And finally, recent efforts to advance the development of principles around groundwater management and drinking water well impacts. Today marks a major milestone in our collective work implementing SGMA. We at DWR are releasing the first assessments of groundwater sustainability plans. These initial assessments are being released ahead of the statutory deadline in an effort to continue our communication on these assessments. Our aim is to provide clear feedback to the local groundwater sustainability agencies and remaining members of the SGMA community. Arriving at this SGMA milestone represents a significant amount of work done by local agencies to develop plans, countless hours that the broader SGMA community has spent participating and providing input on those plans, and the review and evaluation of thousands of pages of plan content by the state. Additional details on these first plan assessments are the focus of today's discussion. However, before we cover that topic, I wanted to first acknowledge the drought conditions we're experiencing today. These remind us of just how important groundwater is to our state. California's groundwater touches all types of uses and industries. Groundwater supports our natural environment, agriculture, economy, and drinking water, with 85% of Californians relying on groundwater for some portion of their drinking water supply. SGMA was born out of the last drought, and as we now find ourselves back in drought conditions, the hard work from the last 6 years of SGMA implementation is already paying dividends. As an example, over 260 GSAs have formed and almost 50 GSPs have been developed and are being implemented for the critically overdrafted basins. These have been submitted to DWR for review and assessment. Another 70 to 90 plans are being developed now, and local agencies will begin implementing them in the next 6 months. A lot has been done, however, we know that much more work remains because SGMA is a massive new initiative that is advancing our collective knowledge and filling the long-term management gaps that have existed in California. For over 100 years, surface water has been managed in California, capturing snowpack runoff and rainfall in reservoirs and moving water through man-made canals such as the California Aqueduct. Sustainable groundwater management is a relatively new statewide effort to balance the use of surface water and groundwater. Groundwater acts as the state's drought buffer or savings account in dry or drought years. We use more groundwater when surface water supplies are limited or unavailable. However, we need to strategically manage our water resources in average and wet years when excess surface water is available to maximize recharge and take advantage of the significant storage capacity of our groundwater basins for long-term and future use. With both sides of the water cycle now actively managed, we are better prepared for our changing future. Protecting our groundwater resources in our variable climate requires thoughtful solutions. The administration's water resilience portfolio recognizes and calls for the continued commitment to implementing SGMA in Action 3.1, and there are many other complementary actions that help the state advance statewide groundwater management for more resilient water resources. Under SGMA, there are both near-term milestones, such as the assessments being released today, and long-term actions that need to translate into measurable progress under the law's 20-year planning horizon. This will help locals adaptively manage and continue improving and updating plans to reach sustainability goals in their basins. Managing California's groundwater sustainably is critical to our state. We must apply a continuum of approaches for locals to adaptively manage, update GSPs, and continue to stay focused on implementation with projects and actions that address both supply and demand. This balance between near-term groundwater needs, such as providing a reliable drinking water supply for some communities, and the long-term sustainability of our groundwater resources will require clearly defined projects and actions. State and local agencies will need to work together to manage supplies for a variety of conditions. A recent action related to groundwater and drought is Governor Newsom's April 21st Drought Executive Order. In the order, he tasked DWR with developing groundwater management principles and strategies related to analyzing, monitoring, and minimizing impacts to drinking water wells. This will ensure that those potential drought impacts on communities are anticipated and proactively addressed. DWR, in coordination with the State Water Board, will be launching this effort to develop these principles and strategies with the input from the groundwater community, interested parties, and the public. It is important that these principles and strategies provide tools for addressing the real challenges we face when it comes to safeguarding drinking water for all Californians. The state is currently working with locals to address drought conditions. This is why SGMA's long-term planning efforts and these first assessments are so important. DWR, along with our colleagues from the State Water Board, will host a live question and answer session on Thursday, June 24th. This will be an opportunity for the SGMA community to come together and discuss the first round of assessments. For more information on the plan assessments, I'd like to pass it over to my colleague, Craig Altair.
Hello, my name is Craig Altair and I'm the manager for DWR's Groundwater Sustainability Plan Review Program. One of DWR's primary roles in the Sustainable Groundwater Management Act, or SGMA, is to review locally developed plans to make sure they comply with the law and regulations. Today, I will walk through the decision pathways for our review and discuss the first assessments that have recently been released. DWR has three possible regulatory outcomes for groundwater sustainability plans, or GSPs: approved, incomplete, and inadequate. Approved plans are the ones that comply with the law and regulations and that demonstrate a clear path to achieving sustainability. These plans will not be perfect, and DWR will recommend certain corrective actions that the Groundwater Sustainability Agencies, or GSAs, should address early in implementation. GSAs in basins with approved plans, particularly basins that were critically overdrafted before SGMA, still have a lot of work to do to implement their plans over the next 20 years and to show that they are making progress toward their goals. Next, incomplete plans are those with one or more deficiencies that preclude DWR's approval. After consulting with agencies that develop these plans, DWR can give up to 180 days for the deficiencies to be addressed. Finally, if the local agency cannot address the deficiencies within that period, or if the initial GSP had deficiencies that could not be addressed in 180 days, DWR can determine groundwater sustainability plans to be inadequate. We recently completed our assessment of plans for the Santa Cruz Mid-County Basin and the 180 400-foot aquifer subbasin and determined that those plans are approved. GSAs in those basins will continue implementing their plans to achieve SGMA's goal of groundwater sustainability within 20 years. Additionally, we have notified GSAs in the Cuyama Valley Basin and the Paso Robles subbasin that their plans lack specific details that may preclude DWR's approval. We will consult with these GSAs to discuss corrective actions they will need to make to improve their plans. This initial release should make it clear that DWR takes seriously its role to ensure the GSAs have followed the regulatory process, including identifying the effects of groundwater management on the interests of beneficial uses and users of groundwater. We strongly encourage all GSAs to read the materials from this first release to understand how DWR has evaluated the plans. Following this initial release, DWR will release subsequent groundwater sustainability plan assessments in a tiered manner throughout 2021 and early 2022, with the most complex plans that take more time to review coming at the end of that time frame. Assessments will be issued at the basin or subbasin scale. We strongly urge GSAs and basins with plans under review to begin planning now for how they will work together quickly if DWR provides notification that deficiencies need to be addressed.
This is a pivotal time, and DWR stands ready to carry out our decision-making role and continue providing technical, planning, and financial assistance to locals implementing SGMA. These links provide more information on DWR's assistance and the plan assessments. If you have SGMA questions, please email us at sgmps@water.ca.gov. We look forward to our continued work implementing SGMA and hearing from you at the live Q&A on June 24th.